8 years ago, I packed up my life and moved off-grid. Since then, I've lived with solar power, generators, a dug well, a drilled well, chickens, pigs, gardens, food preservation, and quite frankly, more unfinished projects than I'd like to admit. Some of these decisions have saved me thousands of dollars. Some of them have cost me thousands of dollars. If I had to start again tomorrow with just a piece of raw land, I'd do things differently. And today, I'm going to share the things I do differently with you. Because if you're planning on going off-grid, this video can save you thousands of dollars and a lot of frustration. One of the biggest things I've learned is that trying to save money can actually cost you money. My first solar setup was actually a Harbor Freight 100-watt kit. And then when we moved up here on the land, I invested in a 200-watt Renogy kit. And I used a battery bank of Walmart lead-acid deep cycle batteries. At the time it worked, but it wasn't enough. So I upgraded. Then I upgraded again. Then I upgraded again. Then I upgraded again. Today I have roughly $6,000 all total spent in my solar system from day one. The crazy part, the system I have now would have only cost me $2,400. That's a difference of about $3,600. That matters when you're off-grid trying to work a homestead. If I had it to do over again today, I would go straight to the LifePo4 batteries from Lifetime and skip all the intermediate stepping stones. Over the years, I went through 2 complete sets of lead-acid 12-volt batteries. Looking back, that's about $1,400 in batteries that I shouldn't have spent in the first place. I know that the cost of lithium batteries scares some people. It scares me. But replacing lead-acid batteries over and over again, having to worry about maintenance on the batteries themselves, it just runs into too much money. The moment I switched over from a 12-volt system to a 24-volt system, I became a believer. Because I went for 2 months without having to run my generator to charge my batteries. That never happened with the 12-volt batteries. Even in the summer, I was running the generator once a week or so. Today, my system runs a well pump, a stand-up freezer, a microwave, a TV, a computer, the lights, all the lights in my house, even a Keurig coffee maker, which loves to eat electricity. That one upgrade changed my entire experience living off-grid. But my biggest mistake wasn't solar. It was generators. Over the years, I have owned 5 generators. And I've spent the better part of $2,000 or more replacing them. The embarrassing part, I didn't have to. 3 of them are probably fixable. 1 with a new engine, and 2 that I never even went through yet that's still on my to-do list. Instead of taking the time to learn to repair them, I replaced them because they always seemed to go down at a time when I didn't have time to play. So I just chose the quicker option and bought a new one. If I could go back in time, I would really concentrate and learn small engine repair a lot sooner. Not that I have learned it now, but I'm fuddling through. This is one that I wish somebody had drilled in my head, even though Trevor tried many times. Don't rush to move into the cabin before it's finished. When we moved in, the interior wasn't even near complete. The bathroom wasn't finished. It still isn't. In fact, it's still open studs today. The plumbing wasn't finished. We literally had a chamber pot for close to a year that we took out to the outhouse, or we used the outhouse. The biggest inconvenience was the transition from the outhouse to the indoor plumbing. It took me over a year to get the indoor plumbing. The money just had to come before I could do it. When you're living in a building, it's much harder to find the motivation to finish it. After all, you're already in there and surviving. Now let's talk about some things that worked. Before we even knew we were going to move off grid, we started preparing to live off grid. We learned gardening, we learned food preservation, we stored food, we got chickens, we got bees, everything that we could do in the village that we lived in. We spent years researching. And if you don't subscribe to Countryside Magazine, man, oh man, you will learn stuff in that magazine. It's worth buying their anthology. It really is. I'm not beholden to them at all for anything. The preparations that we took made the transition much easier than it would have been otherwise. Too many people want to buy land and then learn everything afterwards. And I guess that's okay, but if you learn everything you can before you move on to the land, it makes things so much easier. This one may be controversial. I would totally 100% skip the Back to Eden garden and either go with raised beds or traditional gardening. Don't get me wrong, Back to Eden gardening is fantastic. Let me know if you've ever tried wood chip gardening, Back to Eden gardening. And it really helped because we were living off rainwater, not drinking it, but for showers and stuff like that. I couldn't water the garden and the wood chips held everything in. It had its place. But from the beginning, I would definitely choose a more traditional approach. Not because the Back to Eden doesn't work, but because I believe there are more efficient ways to garden that gets you productive a lot faster. Chickens and pigs, so much easier than people think. A lot of people are intimidated by livestock. And when they think livestock, they think cows and horses and stuff like that. Any animal that you keep on the homestead to provide for you is livestock. But honestly, the chickens and the pigs are so much easier than a lot of people think. Yes, there's work involved. Yes, there's some equipment necessary. Shelter for them, pens for the pigs, feed, stuff like that. But once all the equipment is in place, care for the animals becomes really routine. I check on the pigs twice a day, once in the morning and once in the evening. This year we have some messy pigs. They like throwing their feed out of the feeder, and so I'm not giving them as much in the big automatic feeder so that they don't throw as much out. The chickens are loving it though because they're eating a lot of the feed that the pigs are throwing out. If someone were to ask me what livestock to start with, I'd say chickens. Make sure that they have a safe, dry, ventilated space to live and to keep them out of the wind in the winter and the snow. Food and water, and you got eggs. Just be aware. There is a real thing called chicken math, and they are a gateway animal. You will end up with bees or rabbits or pigs because you'll find out how much easier they are. The things that you said, well, this will keep me busy through the day taking care of the chickens, not so much. 10-15 minutes and my chickens are taken care of. There's always some kind of problem on the homestead. You need to be aware of that. After 8 years off grid, I still fight mice. Now, part of that is because we carved this homestead out of a woodlot. It was all thick hardwoods before we moved in. We had to cut it and clear it ourselves, and the mice already lived here. They were tickled pink to discover the oil that they used to lubricate truck wiring because apparently they love it. I've had cats. I've tried different solutions. I love the Adirondack mouse trap with the lid that falls down and they fall in the bucket full of water. But the mice still find ways to show me that they're still in charge. Sometimes you don't eliminate a set of problems, you just trade off one set of problems for another. So after 8 years of living off-grid in a 32 foot by 32 foot cabin with chickens and pigs and solar energy and generators, would I do it again? Abso-stinking-lutely. Not because it's easy, not because things never went wrong, and not because I didn't make any mistakes. I would do it again because freedom is worth it. But I'd do it smarter. I would build the right solar system the first time. I would go immediately to 24-volt LiFePO4 batteries. I would finish the cabin before I moved in. Thank you, Trevor, you tried. And I would keep preparing while still on grid. And I would spend a lot more time fixing equipment than replacing it. 8 years in, and these are some things that I wish someone would have pounded into my stubborn, non-listening head. Now I'd like to hear from you. What's the biggest lesson you have learned on your homestead? And if you're just beginning to think about off-grid homesteading and life, what's the biggest thing you're worried about? Let me know in the comments below. And if this video helps you avoid even the smallest problem, you might want to consider hitting that like button, that subscribe button, and that little notification bell so that you get notified every time I come out with new content. Maybe even become a member for 99 cents a month. So you get behind the scenes footage, special live streams, special videos, all for members only. And as always, I'm keeping it real. Hey guys, the best way to support the channel, buy some merch. The easiest and cheapest way to support the channel, leave a comment. That really does help YouTube channels. All right, y'all have a great and wonderful day. Remember, we love you, and God bless.